The West Virginia men's basketball team's March Madness hopes are not dead yet as they defeat the BYU Cougars 79-71 in Morgantown on Saturday night. Thank you for joining this live show here at Couz's Corner on your hopefully relaxing Sunday afternoon. I remember there's a video or a meme or whatever out there of Bob Huggins. I think it was back when he was the coach for the Cincinnati Bearcats. He's popping up out of a casket and he says, and I'm paraphrasing, but he says something about who says we're dead or we're not dead yet or something like that. And this game reminded me of that. Just when this West Virginia team's back was against the wall, they had lost 3 straight games, including a home game to the worst team in the Big 12 in Utah. Yeah, all things look bleak. They bounced back with this huge win over number 19 BYU. Now, they are still, according to Joe Lunardi, still right outside the bubble. Still one of the next set of teams out. Okay, so this game did not put them in NCAA tournament contention, but it also kept them at least with a modicum of a chance, okay? And we'll talk about that in a minute. First, let's talk about just my takeaways from the game. Thank you for joining the show. Please be sure to hit the thumbs up button for me below. It really helps the algorithm. Please also comment in the chat, live chat, and if you're watching on the replay, it also helps to do that as well. And let's go ahead and jump ahead, and I'll give you my takeaways from this game. First, let's look at just the overall mentality of this team. I thought they came out with a lot of energy, some urgency, which we had not seen from them a lot over the last several games. You saw the graphic. They were the slowest starting team as far as slow starts in the country in major college basketball. They fixed that against BYU, outscored BYU in the first half by double digits, went into halftime with a double-digit lead. So that was something we had not seen from this team a lot lately. They had been, inconsistent in their starts. So they improved there. I like that. They were very locked in on the defensive end. They were moving without the basketball on the offensive end and actually they were running their sets well. They were moving well. They were passing the ball well and, not doing too much, one-on-one dribbling stuff that we had seen in the past. I just thought they were very honed in and locked in. It's that, I've criticized this team and others have too I don't know about others, but I know I have. I've criticized this team some about being a senior-laden team who seems to make mistakes at the worst possible times and come out start slow and things like that. In this game, they looked like a veteran team. Their maturity showed here because they were able to put the last 3 games behind them, not listen to the noise, and just go out and play together and play well and lock in. And that's what they did. They were locked in, to me, is the kind of the key phrase or word that pops up in my head when thinking about this game. This Mountaineer team was absolutely locked in, both ends of the court, for really the entire game. BYU made some runs in the second half. That can be expected, especially when you have a player like AJ Debonsa, rather. It's going to happen, right? Teams like that are going to make runs. But West Virginia was able to stay locked in. They didn't let those runs. In the past, this team might have crumbled when BYU started making those runs. They might have crumbled, and BYU might have come back and taken the lead late. But this team did not allow that to happen. They stuck with the game plan. They executed what was called for the most part, and they were able to maintain their lead throughout the second half. Wasn't double digits, and BYU was able to whittle it down, right? But they still were able to maintain a lead and end up winning the basketball game by 8 points. Now, offensively, let's talk. This might be the best offensive performance we've seen from this team. Now, we actually saw a pretty good offensive performance in their last outing on the road against Oklahoma State. But the problem in that game was the defense didn't seem to be locked in as good. And Oklahoma State just played a really good game, too, on the offense. They were making a lot of shots, and West Virginia did not rebound the ball well. In this game, West Virginia continued to be locked in. They made some threes. But here are the things that really stuck out to me the most. I already mentioned they were moving without the ball. I thought that was a huge key in this game. The guys moving without the ball, their feet weren't stuck in concrete. They were moving, passing the ball well, and getting the ball in the paint. That was a huge factor in this game. West Virginia getting the ball in the paint, drawing defenders down, and then either if they weren't able to score it down low, they were able to kick it out to open shooters. And they were knocking down a higher percentage of their threes in this game than they had in previous games. So I thought that was key. The fact that when they got the ball in the paint, good things happened. West Virginia knocked down 32% of the three-pointers in this game. They still got outshot by BYU, but 32% is not terrible. You're right. In previous games this year, they've shot in the 20% range, even in the teens. So we'll take 32% because it seemed to me like, and what was really even better is they made them at key times, right? They made them when they needed to make them. I thought that anytime BYU started to make a little bit of a run, somebody at West Virginia would step up and make a big shot. And I thought that was key. In the first half, a lot of times that was Jasper Floyd or Honor Huff. And then and DJ Thomas, can't leave him out. He did a great job in the first half. And in the second half, Brendan Laureate was kind of the go-to guy for the most part. And of course, Huff continued some of his scoring as well. But another big takeaway for me offensively was, I mentioned moving without the ball, mentioned getting into the paint. Some of the, he switched up things a little bit. He obviously Jasper Floyd was his primary point guard. Amir Jenkins got some minutes, but he also put Honor Huff on the ball a little bit more in this game than he had in the previous few games. Now, he didn't do that the whole game, which I think ended up being the right move because Honor Huff at times is, for all the things he does well, especially scoring the ball, he is prone at times to turn the ball over. And he did that at times in this game. So by not leaving him on the ball too much, you were able to do it just enough to keep that BYU defense honest and keep them guessing because they were paying a lot of attention to Honor Huff. And that was drawing more of the defense to him. He was able to dish it to his teammates a few times. Actually ended the game with 6 assists on the day. So, a good assist day for him to go along with his 19 points because he was able to dump it down to some teammates on some bounce passes underneath, some cutters. And I thought that was really a huge difference in the game as well, or a huge factor, rather. Free throw shooting. West Virginia actually shot the ball well from the free throw line today. They shot 77% from the free throw line, 17 out of 22. Hallelujah. My gosh, where's that been? Now, a lot of that was because some of the guys shooting them. You had 6 of 7 from Huff, 3 of 4 from Laureate, 2 of 3 from Floyd. Obiaha actually knocked down his 2. And then you had 3, and Chance Moore. Hats off to Chance Moore, stepped up and knocked down 3 of his 4 free throws in this game. For all the criticism I, myself, and others have thrown his way, he did it today. He had that one ugly miss, but hey, you make 3 or 4. I will take that all day, every day when you have a guy like Chance Moore who loves to drive the ball into the paint. He was another huge key in this game, 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and just very active, again, putting pressure on that defense, getting it into the paint, and forcing that defense to collapse, where then he could kick it out to shooters or one of his teammates could kick it out to shooters. And his athleticism just continued to be big on the boards. Very, very good on the offensive rebounding front was Chance Moore today, along with Brendan Laureate and others, which we'll get to that offensive rebounding piece in a minute. Matter of fact, let's just talk about it now. West Virginia had an 18-8 advantage offensive rebounding over BYU. That led to 15 second chance points. You win a game by 8 and you have 15 second chance points. That's a key factor right there. And to hold BYU to only 8 offensive rebounds was critical as well. But West Virginia's ability, and they had a couple games where they did not rebound the ball well. They did a better job in this game. Brendan Laureate pulled down 9 rebounds, was 1 away from a double-double. You had Moore with 8. You had Obiaha with 5. This is total rebounds now, by the way. And then as far as offensive rebounds, let's go ahead and jump over to, get more specific with our stats here. 7 of Laureate's 9 rebounds were on the offensive glass. Moore had 3. DJ Thomas had 3. 2 of Harlan's 3 rebounds. 2 of Harlan's 5 rebounds were on the offensive glass. So really great job, especially by Brendan Laureate, on getting offensive rebounds in this game and limiting possessions. Now, BYU already still had 64 possessions to West Virginia 61 in this game. But the fact that you were able to limit them even more with the offensive rebounding, and that's fewer times that A.J. DeBonta touches the basketball, is fewer times that Rob Wright touches the basketball. I thought that was massive. I don't even think it's probable or arguable. It was the biggest factor in this basketball game, was West Virginia's ability to get offensive rebounds. They had a 36-28 advantage on points in the paint because of what we talked about earlier, them getting the ball in the paint more. They had 17 assists on 27 field goals. That's massive. This team is a team who's won games with only 4 assists before, making things really hard on themselves. Now, some of that was because they missed shots, in all fairness, because you can't get an assist if the guy you throw it to misses a shot, right? Well, they were making their shots more frequently today, and they were doing a better job, in my opinion, of passing the basketball and getting open looks, not forcing up threes. But they took threes when they were within the flow of the offense more. And, of course, at times late in the shot clock. And their late shot clock offense today or yesterday was – and I'm doing this show on Sunday, but it was phenomenal. They did a great job playing and scoring late in the shot clock. They didn't panic. They didn't try to rush the ball. They knew they had the full 24 to work with or the full 30 to work with, and they used it. But you can tell, because of the style of the ball they play, that they're accustomed to that. They don't panic late in the shot clock, and a lot of that too could be chalked up to their experience and the number of seniors they have on this team. But Honor Huff was the leading scorer on the team with 19. Brennan Lorient had 18. Jasper Floyd had 11. And look, I myself and others have criticized Jasper Floyd a lot this season. He played his butt off in this game. In the first half, he was really the spark that made that team go. He was able to score when nobody else on the team was scoring consistently. But even more important to me was his defense. His defense was absolutely elite in that game. His on-ball defense was elite. He was not giving BYU anything. And another guy I want to give a shout-out to, which, might be a good segue into the defensive discussion, but Brennan Lorient. Now, A.J. DeBonsa got his 20 points. I get it. But Brennan Lorient, in my opinion, did a great job on him defensively. I mean, he's averaging 25 a game. You held him to 20. He was only scored single digits in the first half. So I thought that Brennan Lorient did a really good job defending A.J. DeBonsa in this game for the most part. DeBonsa was going to get his. He's too good not to. He's a mismatch against anybody in the country for the most part. But I would venture to say Brennan Lorient probably played as good on him as anybody he's faced so far this year. And I want to give him a shout out for that. Not only did he play well on the glass and scoring the ball, he also did a great job on the defensive end against A.J. DeBonsa. And when you look at, Jasper Floyd had 2 steals. Lorient had a steal. Huff, Eagle Staff, and Moore all had steals as well. And by the way, that steal by Chance Moore late in the game, it might be the biggest play of the game. West Virginia was up, I think, by only 1 possession, if I recall. Maybe I think it was a 3-point lead, something like that, with about a minute to go in the game. Honor Huff turns it over, or BYU forces him to turn it over, however you want to look at it. They're coming back on transition with an opportunity to get the game even closer, to pull either to tie it or go down by 1 potentially, or even, depending on how they shoot. But nonetheless, they had a chance to tie the basketball game up. And Chance Moore comes in with us and pokes the ball away and gets a steal, gets the ball back for West Virginia with under a minute to go, forces BYU basically to foul again. West Virginia gets the ball, makes their free throws. The rest is history. I thought that Chance Moore steal might have been the biggest play in the basketball game because it was not over. BYU still had a chance to tie it or at least pull closer, and Moore shut them down with that steal. When all things look bleak, you're thinking as a fan, here we go again. West Virginia's going to give up this lead and choke and blow this game. Chance Moore had other ideas as he gets the steal, gets the ball back for the Mountaineers, and they come down and go ahead, pull within, make it a 2-possession game, make another stop, get another make more free throws, and go ahead even more. But that Chance Moore steal late in the game, to me, sealed it from the Mountaineers and was the play of the game. So I want to give him credit for hustling back on defense. Just his overall effort the last couple of games has been phenomenal. Just hats off to that young man and the way he's played. He's really been a huge, huge key factor for this basketball team and could be going forward as well. But when you look defensively, again, I mentioned they were totally locked in for the most part, especially in the first half. They also forced 12 turnovers in the game. I thought that was huge. Bob Huggins, I mentioned Huggins in the beginning, but what about Huggy? Was this Bob Huggins' ball right here? Forcing turnovers, getting offensive rebounds. How about that? Bob Huggins will be proud of how this team played, I'm sure. They had only had 8 points off those 12 turnovers, but you'll take it. Hey, you win by 8, you get 8 points off turnovers. Another big factor, right? I thought, again, I mentioned how well they played on DeBonsa for most of the game. But I just, defensively, and I want to talk about Harlan Obioha for a minute. Now, he only had 4 points in the game and only had, 5 rebounds for a guy who's 7 foot tall. We've criticized him a lot, sometimes rightfully so. And he didn't put up a ton of stats here. But when you watch Harlan Obioha in this game, he did some really good things well that don't show up in the stat sheet. I thought he did a fantastic job setting screens. The one screen he set for Huff at half court, he handed the ball off to Huff almost like a quarterback, handing it off to his running back at half court as Huff's blowing by him. And he stops to make sure Huff's guy can't follow him down the court, and Huff gets a layup out of it. Matter of fact, I think he got an N1 out of it on the other end. So just little things like that Harlan Obioha did in this game, setting screens in the half-court offense as well. It goes unnoticed at times, and I thought in this game he did a great job. He also does a really good job. He's not the most athletic guy in the world. He doesn't jump real high, can't run fast, but, man, he does sometimes the little things well. He did a really good job, in my opinion, of walling up on defense and just making it hard to score over him without fouling. He did a really good job of that in this game. He had been in foul trouble a little bit the last few games. In this game, he stayed out of foul trouble for the most part. As a matter of fact, he only committed 2 fouls in the game. So he did a really good job of playing defense without fouling. No, I'm sorry, he had 4. He did have 4 fouls. I apologize. He did have 4 fouls in the game, but still, as many times as they came at him in the paint, I thought he did a pretty darn good job for the most part. And sometimes they call those fouls, in my opinion, they shouldn't be called. But he for the most part, I feel like he does a good job of walling up, going straight up, and not trying to, and doesn't, not drawing fouls, not trying to block the shot, just trying to get in the way. I think he does a pretty good job of that, as does most of this basketball team. But I just think some of the stuff Harlan does, he's not always perfect. There are times he, doesn't play well. But I felt like in that game, he played well. Just doing the little things. The things he's asked to do, he did it. And he was 2 for 2 from the foul line in a critical moment. That was big. So got to give him a shout out for that. And he got that key tap out there, one of those late possessions in the game too. He was not able to snag the rebound, but he tapped it right back out to his teammate, and they were able to reset the offense, burn more time off the clock. Just, again, probably didn't show up in the stat sheet as a rebound necessarily, but it helped his team win a basketball game. So I want to give him a shout out there. I want to make sure that we give these guys credit when it's due, because we do, I'm critical of them at times, and I want to make sure that when they do things well, that we talk about it. DJ Thomas had 13 points off the bench on 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 4 from 3, 2 huge threes in the first half to help build that double-digit lead going into halftime. His plus-minus on the game was 12, which was the second highest on the team, behind Jasper Floyd, whose plus-minus was 17. So, speaking of plus-minus, this is one of those games where the plus-minus doesn't necessarily tell you the whole story, because Brennan Lorient had the worst plus-minus on the team. He had a plus-minus of -7, which means the team was outscored by 7 when he was in the game. But when you look at the context of that, he played 30 minutes in the game. 19 of those 30 minutes were in the second half when BYU made some runs. Some of that was because A.J. DeBonsa got more aggressive offensively. Some of that was just that BYU had made some adjustments and played a little bit better in the second half, I thought. But, you can't take away the fact that Brendan Laurie, 18 points, 9 rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds. He did some things to really, really make sure this team won that ball game, yet he had a plus-minus of -7. So, plus-minus does not always tell the whole story. I wanted to make sure I throw that out there. I like plus-minus. I think it's a very good indicator sometimes of how guys play. But I think sometimes it's also not. You know what I'm saying? It's not always the end-all, be-all, and I think this game proved it. But anyway, those are my takeaways. As far as BYU goes, I do want to give shout-out to some of their guys. I think that's only fair. Their leading scorer on the day was Rob Wright. He played a phenomenal basketball game, 23 points, had 4 rebounds as a point guard and 4 assists. He was 7 of 15 from the floor and 2 of 5 from 3. He played a fantastic basketball game and played the entire game, all 40 minutes. DeBonta got 20 points with 7 rebounds, was 2 of 7 from 3, and played 38 of the 40 minutes. So he did a great job. Those are the only two guys. Kostick had double digits as well with 12, and he was 4 of 8 from three-point range. So he had a double-digit scoring day as well. Leading rebounder was DeBonta with leading rebounder was Keba with 8, and then DeBonta was right behind him with 7. So there are your key players for both teams, key performances by both teams, and just my takeaways for the game. Just, again, great game for the Mountaineers. We've been looking for that performance for most of the season. They've only done it a couple games this year, the Kansas game, this game. Now, let's talk about where they stand the rest of the way and what this does for the NCAA tournament chances. And then we'll get to some comments here on this live show here on this Sunday afternoon. Joe Lunardi still has them as the next 4 out on right outside the bubble, where he had them before. So far, this win has not changed that. But if they can go out and win these last 2 regular season games at Kansas State and then back home against UCF, which would be probably a quad 1 win, the UCF game would be, and avoid that bad loss against Kansas State, finish the year 10-8 in the Big 12 and 19-12 overall, I think they got a chance. They're not going to be a lock, and they still may not get in, and they could end up being the first team to not get in after having a above 500 record in Big 12 play, because so far, no team that's won more than half their games in Big 12 play has missed the NCAA tournament. West Virginia could potentially be the first, and us West Virginia fans, we probably are coming to expect that, right? Because that's just how the cookie crumbles for us most of the time. But they are not dead yet. Do not count them out. Depending on what happens around them in the bubble or just in front of them, just ahead of them in the bubble, and also what could potentially happen in the Big 12 tournament, because that's also out there too. If they win a couple games in that and pull off an upset or 2 in that, maybe they make it to the semifinals, or even better yet, the championship of the Big 12 tournament or something. It's not out of the realm of possibility here. It's a long shot, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. If they can do that, plus win these last 2 regular season games and get some help around them, I think they still have a legit chance to get in the big dance. Still a slim chance, but there's a chance. And, the committee likes it when teams win down the stretch and win at the end of the year. That looks good on your resume. It looks good to the committee. So it's not quite over yet. Even though they're on thin ice, they're on life support, so to speak, as far as their NCAA tournament chances go. It's not totally out of the question. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into the chat room and see what got. Raven Grady says our ladies just dominated Cincy 118-60. Great work, great week to be a Mountaineer. Yes, and our baseball team, not sure where they ended their last. Trey says they gave up a 6-0 lead. Yeah, but they are going to win the series, right? That's what we have to look at. How do we replicate the win against BYU, says Raven. It's going to be hard to do, but they can do it. I think we've seen signs of this team playing better ball offensively, at least down the stretch. If they can continue to play that way on the offensive end, I think they can win out and really be playing their best basketball as they get into the postseason run, Big 12 tournament, and if maybe be lucky enough to get into the big dance. Maybe they can go in playing their best basketball. But how do you replicate it, man? You just have to come in. You have to come in with the same mindset, the same urgency, be locked in mentally. I think being locked in mentally, to me, was the biggest key in this game that we haven't seen in some others. The mental toughness to withstand the runs by BYU, not giving up, playing hard as you can from whistle to buzzer to buzzer or tip to buzzer, however you want to describe it. I thought that was the key in this game, even more so than their actual physical play. And I think Ross Hodge even touched on that a little bit in his post-game comments, which, by the way, I have not even listened to yet. I actually did not see this game live. I actually watched it today or this morning, thanks to WVU RX, man, on YouTube. I was actually out of town attending a concert with my family last night, so was not able to watch the game and was not even able to keep track of the score because where I was at had no cell service. But I was able to catch it once I got back into cell range and was really happy to see they won and wanted to go back and watch it. And what I found is it's actually easier to evaluate the game and pick out little details when you already know the outcome because you're not as invested mentally, right? You're not as emotional, so to speak, because you kind of already know the outcome. So you can kind of pay more attention to what's going on. And you don't get, and for me, I don't get caught ball watching as much either. Thank you, Raven. She says, don't forget to smash the like button. Whether you're watching this on the replay or on the live, it really helps the algorithm and helps get my channel, my videos out to more people. So please do that for me. The interactions really mean a lot to YouTube. Comments help as well. Cheers, Beers Mountaineers. It's a huge game for Hodge. His defense is incredible. All he needs is one guy that can take over the game offensively. If he gets a Javon Small that could put up 20-plus every game, it'll be Turney Lock. I agree. They were decent with their foul shots, Raven. It wasn't darn near a miracle. Travis Overdorf says over Trayson or Harlan wouldn't care who. Harlan doesn't fit what we want to do offensively, and Trayson still isn't shooting well. Travis, that was earlier he had said, can someone explain to me why Chance Moore isn't starting? You know, I think I said that a few days ago. I thought Chance should be put in the starting lineup, but I'm starting to think maybe he's better coming off the bench. I mean, he still played a ton of minutes in this game. And he comes off the bench and kind of gives them that spark they need off the bench. And it's a change of pace a little bit because you have all those guys who like to shoot the outside shot to start the game. Then when they bring Chance Moore in, it changes the way they have to defend a little bit. So maybe that's also part of the strategy. He actually played 26 minutes. Harlan only played 21, and Trayson played 27. So Trayson only played one more minute than Chance Moore did in the game. So, and Trayson didn't play his best game. He only had 3 points and 4 rebounds. But again, he played. I thought he played defense okay. He stayed in front of his man and did the things he needed to do on that end of the court. But I do understand the argument and would not necessarily have a problem with it. But this late in the season, it might not be the best idea to change your starting lineup with only 2 games left. It might throw off your rhythm and your chemistry a little bit if you do that. It might just thinking out loud there. Seymour's in the house. He said, I'd rather this team make a run for an NIT title than have a first weekend exit in March Madness. 2006 showed us what a springboard that can be. And that's a fair comment. As a fan, I don't know that I agree with that necessarily. I think being in March Madness just gives your team more validity on a national level. Seeing your name up there on that bracket just means a lot. It will be a huge confidence boost for the guys potentially coming back next year, and it can help recruiting, I think. So, and heck, maybe an NIT run could too, though. Seymour, that's actually a fair comment. I don't really. It's probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, as the old saying goes. But I personally would rather see them make the big dance. It makes March. To me, the NCAA tournament is more exciting when West Virginia is part of it. Just, because I'm such a diehard fan, that's just how I feel. I have a hard time staying as invested if West Virginia's not in the tournament. And if they get beat in the first round, I get it. But for some reason, it still makes the rest of the tournament mean more to me. I can't really explain why. Maybe that's just me, though. Seymour says it may be time to move Eagle staff to a reserve role. He could be good spark off the bench. We got Timothy Green in the house. He says, let's go Mountaineers. What's up, Mountaineer Nation? What's up, brother? Ravens excited for DJ's future. I think I almost called him Neil Brown. Holy cow. Somebody smacked me. I think Ross Hodge found something really special in DJ Thomas. Look, he was under-recruited. He was not recruited by any Power 4 schools, any high major schools. North Texas was his biggest offer at the time. And, of course, Hodge offered to let him come with him to West Virginia. And that turned out to be a great move by both guys. Let's hope he stays because he's probably going to get some offers thrown his way in the offseason. Amir Jenkins may as well. Let's hope he can retain all those guys and help build around them for next year along with the incoming freshmen. And hopefully Jackson Fields gets his medical redshirt approved. Timothy Green says, Couz, great show as always, my friend. It's good to hear your voice again. Let's go Mountaineers. Yes. Thank you, Timothy Green. It's good to see you back on here, brother. I really appreciate you and all your support throughout the years, man. Raven says she was expecting the men to mentally check out from the 3 straight losses. She's glad they didn't. Me too. I second that comment. Well, I'm going to call it quits on this one today. Just wanted to get on here and give my quick thoughts on yesterday's or last night's game. West Virginia's big-time win over BYU, 79-71, huge for the program, huge for their March Madness chances. Again, they have to keep it going, though. They cannot turn around and lose now to a bad Kansas State team, or it negates this win. So go to Kansas State, get you a win, come back home next Saturday, get you another win against UCF, and go into the Big 12 tournament with positive momentum, with confidence, knowing that you can play and beat anybody. And I think that's, that would really help this team down the stretch. But anyway, if you're watching this on the replay again, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button. Please be sure to drop a comment. If you like West Virginia sports content and you're new to the channel, there's a video right here you may enjoy. I'm going to leave a link to it also in the comments. So I appreciate you checking out this live show, or this, if you're checking out on the playback, thank you for checking out the show. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. God bless you, and Q Country Roads.